You have tuned into the BearDown Corner with your host, Sergeant Holio. Hey everybody, this is the BearDown Corner, and I'm your host, Sergeant Holio. We got another exciting episode this week as we break down Sunday's games for you. All right, let's dive right into it. Bye weeks this week. Chicago, Green Bay, Atlanta, and Pittsburgh all off this week. So let's dive into Thursday night's game that featured the San Francisco 49ers traveling to the Los Angeles Rams, where it turned into a hell of a game. Oh my goodness. You had Mac Jones stepping in as if he was like drafted by the 49ers, throwing the ball like the most comfortable quarterback ever. 33 of 49 for 342 yards and 2 touchdowns. Matthew Stafford on the other side went 30 of 47 for 389 yards and 3 touchdowns. Kyren Williams had 2 receiving touchdowns in this game. This was a back and forth shoot fest that came down to the end as the 49ers drove the field in overtime, actually, mind you. Let me paint the picture here. They went up 20 to 17 at that time, or no, 23-20. So Los Angeles drove the field, and this is in the dying 2-minute drive, get the field goal to push it to overtime, and then it was a back and forth where San Francisco came out on top. Either way, great game. Puka Nacua catches anything that's even tossed in his direction, and the 49ers are 4-1. Who would have thought, with all the injuries they got, the 49ers would be 4-1 right now? Brings up a huge debate, I feel, for Brock Purdy and the fact that this could possibly be a product of Kyle Shanahan's system. But that can be a discussion for a future day. Moving along, Sunday featured a international game in London where the Minnesota Vikings traveled from, I think they were in Dublin last week, so they just continued on their way after that game against Pittsburgh and went to go play in London. They just made a travel of it. And they played the Cleveland Browns, who I must say, starting the rookie quarterback in an international game on basically a road game, really, he did quite well. They stuck to a 2 tight end formation, a little bit to the receivers, but mostly tight end running back kind of thing. They kept it real safe for the kid, and he didn't do too bad. You know what? For 19 of 33 and 190 and 2 touchdowns, 1 to each tight end, by the way, good outing for you, kid. Quishon Judkins, I believe is how you pronounce it, Judkins. He rushed for over 100 yards again. 110 yards, had 1 reception of 18 yards. The kid is the featured back. Dylan Gabriel is probably going to be the quarterback for the rest of the season unless they continue losing. Maybe we'll see Shedeur Sanders. Either way, Cleveland is not a bad team this year. They only lost 21-17 today. In fact, they had the lead in the 4th before a last-minute touchdown to Jordan Addison won it for the Vikings. So, you know what? I wouldn't want to play Cleveland. They got a nasty defense and the possibility of sneaking a win on you. If anyone's going to do it, it's going to be them. They have a top 5 defense, and they just got to figure out offense. That's it. So, Justin Jefferson, 7 receptions for 123 yards. Like, they were moving the ball. They were moving the ball. Carson Wentz started again this week. J.J. McCarthy was out. And, yeah, they moved the ball. So, congratulations, Minnesota, on your 21-17 win. Dallas started off in the morning games where they just took control of the New York Jets. What can we say? Congratulations, Dallas Cowboys fans. You guys won 37-22. Dak Prescott won 18-29 for 235, but 4 touchdowns. Okay? Let's not forget Javonte Williams, who, where was it? 135 yards and 1 touchdown on the ground and a touchdown receiving as well, by the way. So he had 2 on the day. Javonte Williams has found his second coming in Dallas. Dak Prescott, at least for regular season going right now, he's having a hell of a year. He's one of the top quarterbacks in the league. And offensively, this team just has to find and shore up the defense. There's no reason they can't win enough games to make the playoffs this year. With that kind of offense, yeah. Denver goes to Philly. The defending Super Bowl champions hosted the Broncos, where they let and gave up, I believe it was 18 straight points. Yeah, because Philly was up 17 to whatever the hell it would have been at that point. But Denver battled back. And when they came to the opportunity to either tie it or to do something crazy, Sean Payton did something crazy, and he went for 2 late in the fourth quarter to go up 18-17. The defense came through, and they go down, and they kick a field goal later on? Yeah, a field goal to go up 21-17, so a 4-point. That 2-point conversion was so important. It forced the Eagles to have to go for more than a field goal. So you know what? That gamble paid off. Big time. Denver came up, stopped the Hail Mary at the end, and Denver goes on to win the game. So congratulations, Broncos fans. Courtland Sutton had 8 receptions of 99 yards, and Devontae Smith had 8 of 114. So a shootout by the 2 of their topper receivers by each team. Houston traveled to Baltimore, where they shit all over the Ravens. I'm just going to quite frankly put it like that. This team looked so redonkulous without frickin' their main quarterback, Lamar Jackson, back there. I like Cooper Rush. I do. But he is a backup in this league. And we got to see that full born against a Houston defense that is probably a top 10 caliber defense in this league. And CJ Stroud showed up. He broke his slump, whatever the fuck he was doing. The man went for 4 touchdowns, 23 of 27, and 244 before giving way to his backup later in the game. Houston might be on their track back. Baltimore has to get their shit figured out fast because this defense is letting way too many points and too many damn yards. For a team that was stouted as we are all this star talent, they're doing shit. New York Giants go into New Orleans, where Jackson Dart is hoping to continue the momentum from last week's win over the Los Angeles Chargers, only to lose. They could only muster 14 points. He threw 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. New Orleans won 26-14. Now, here's the deal, though. Okay? That defense made 5 turnovers on Sunday. And it is not without reason to understand New Orleans has a defense, or at least enough of one, that can keep them competitive in games, but they got to get the offense figured out. Now, today was a good day for Spencer Rattler. The man went, what the hell was it now? Oh, I don't even have him on here. I remember him throwing for 235 yards, give or take, with 1 touchdown. That touchdown going to Raheed Shaheed, who had 4 receptions for 114 yards. And that long touchdown catch. Chris Olave helped out that second-year quarterback today of 7 receptions and 59 yards. So the short yardage route running that they're doing is starting to pay off, which opens up for Raheed. The Giants defense, in whatever context and way, screwed me 2 weeks in a row, and I really thought they were on the upswing. But today, they still showed up, but got beat just enough. It's only because New Orleans defense came in stronger than they did. So congratulations, New Orleans, on your first win of the season. Oh, and interesting fact, this is the first quarterback to win a game, to be drafted by the Saints, and I think they were saying almost 20... Actually, no, I think it was 1986, if I'm not mistaken. So apparently, this team was not able to draft a quarterback and win a single game with him until today, or until this Sunday. So, hey, you know what? Nothing wrong with that, though. I give all the credit to if Kellen Moore can make something out of this kid. If they can salvage this season, I don't think they're gonna. But if they can, maybe this is development of the kid. Maybe he turns into your starting quarterback. You never know, right? Look at Tom Brady. The guy's the GOAT. He was a 6th-round draft pick. Anything can happen. Las Vegas Raiders scored a whole 6 points today as they get shit trampled by the Indianapolis Colts. Danny Dimes, Daniel Indianapolis Jones, or whatever the hell they're calling him nowadays, Indiana Jones, went 20 of 29 and 212 yards and 2 touchdowns as he led the field and generaled that team to where Jonathan Taylor rushed for 3 touchdowns on the Sunday. And they're just looking good. He had another 3 receptions for 20 yards. The Indianapolis Colts, I'm waiting to see what they're like against more of the upper echelon teams. Now, don't get me wrong, they beat Denver, but I'm waiting to see when they come up against those really, really tough games. And we'll see how they look. But man, so far they're looking good. And Daniel Jones looks comfortable in Shane Steichen's system. Exciting things if you are an Indianapolis fan, as maybe you found your quarterback. Right? Like, he gave way to freaking Anthony Richardson later on in the game because they were up 40-6. Right? Like, gotta love it. Miami goes to Carolina, where they lose after last week's win, 27-24. And let me tell you why on this one. Very simple. You're starting running backs out. The starter or the backup comes in. Now, let's not forget, Rico Dowell was a starter last year for Dallas. Okay, so the kid, and he did well in the year previous when it was Tony Pollard and him. That's where he really shined, and then they gave him the reins the next year, and whatever. He had an all right year. They just didn't want to resign him. 206 yards with 3 receptions of 28 yards and a rushing touchdown today for this guy. For this kid, for this whatever the hell you want to call him. Possibly a 2-back system coming in Carolina. Maybe. Just keep an eye on that. Either way, you got to give way to someone who helped you win the game today. Now, yes, good blocking by the line, tight ends, and everything else in between. But when your backup comes in and can shine like that, you gotta start giving a second look at things. Tampa Bay went into Seattle, where a late game interception by Sam Darnold, who up to that point, it had been a shootout. Okay? Sam Darnold went 341 yards on 28 of 34 attempts and 4 touchdowns prior to the late game interception that sealed their fate as they were trying to drive down to tie the game. Tampa wins 38-35. Baker Mayfield, 29 of 33 for 379 yards and 2 touchdowns. Mayfield is on his own level right now. It's not to say Sam Darnold can't be on that level. He's right around from a few years earlier of the draft class, but these are 2 premier quarterbacks in the league right now. At least Mayfield is for sure. He is the solidified number 1 in Tampa Bay. He has done nothing but put up close to, if not best overall stats in the last, I believe it's been 2.5 seasons or so. He is coming into his own. And that is quite a feat after taking over a Tom Brady-led Super Bowl winning team. But he has won multiple division titles. He is top 5 in the league in statistics-wise. And he's had multiple come-from-behind wins now at this point. Sam Darnold is an elite quarterback in this league as far as what we're talking about regular season. Now, elite, that doesn't have to be Super Bowls. No. You can go a step further than elite, and that's where you start looking at some of the greats. All right? If you have the regular season stuff and you start stacking Super Bowls, you're in a whole nother category on your own. Either way, he's starting to come into his own, and he is at least an NFL starting capable quarterback that can do a whole hell of a lot more. Okay? In Seattle, Sam Darnold had a hell of a resurgence here last year. And he's showing that this team can compete with him. So as long as he continues on this trajectory, he's going to reach Mayfield stats. He's already there. But he's going to reach a certain ability, we'll say. All right? If he continues that. But either way, Seattle's a tough team. All right, let's not take anything away from that. That defense is solid, and they have a good offense. Tennessee travels to Arizona, where they pick up their first win of the season with Cam Ward, number 1 overall pick from this last year's draft, throwing 1 interception with 265 yards, 21 of 39. Calvin Ridley made most of his receptions today, 5 receptions on 131 of the day. Tony Pollard had a rushing touchdown. Arizona 22-21 though. Okay, this was a tight game. This could have gone Arizona's way. They needed this win too, by the way, to keep pace in this NFC West that's going on. But either way, they can compete, but they just gave up too much today. I don't think Arizona's defense should have given up that much to the Tennessee offense today, but they pushed a little bit more, and they got their first win. So congratulations. Washington went into Los Angeles Chargers, where Justin Herbert and his band of misfits were hoping to get back on the winning side of things after losing last week to the New York Giants. Washington had their quarterback back this week in Jaden Daniels. And they also had their rookie show up to show the Chargers defense, hey, we like to play rough too. This kid ran downhill 14 times. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. 14 attempts with 111 yards on the ground with 2 receptions of 39 yards. So 150 yards total offense today and 2 rushing touchdowns by the rookie. Jaden Daniels threw a couple touchdowns with 200 yards. Either way, Washington looked like the team that they should be. Maybe score a little bit more, but they were without Terry McLaurin today. All right. And he spread the ball around, especially to Luke McCaffrey. I think he had 70 yards or so on the day. Washington won 27-10. Los Angeles, I don't know what's going on there, but got to get your shit figured out a little bit. Because you're getting stopped on third downs that you shouldn't be. Even second downs, you're getting taken away like a lot more than you were the first 3 weeks. So maybe fall off. People are figuring out their system, right? If you're covering the deep threat of Johnson, right? Quentin Johnson or Johnston or however the hell you pronounce his name, you take away a certain element. And Ladd McConkey can be that. He can be your slot guy. And Allen is your dependable outside veteran wide receiver. In fact, I want to take a moment here to talk about Keenan Allen, okay? The man achieved something in this game, and that is the fastest player to reach 1,000 receptions. He did it in 159 games compared to Marvin Harrison Sr., former Indianapolis Colt legend and great Hall of Famer, who did it 167. So congratulations, Keenan Allen, but it came in the loss where this offense just couldn't get shit going, just quite simply. Detroit traveled into Cincinnati Bengal territory, where they handed the Bengals their 3rd straight loss, 37-24. Jamar Chase caught a couple touchdowns, had some receptions. Basically, they forced everything to their number 1 player, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. He catches everything. But, yeah. I don't know. If I'm Cincinnati, I'm calling New York Giants. And I'm getting myself Jameis Winston. He might throw some interceptions. But I believe that man can deliver the ball a hell of a lot better than this Browning kid. Jake Browning. I know he was your backup for the last 4 years, but honestly, your team is of a different level. So get back to it, get a goddamn real quarterback in there, and maybe you can salvage your season. 2-3, you're not far off in that AFC North. Yeah, so they ended up losing that game. Jared Goff, 19-23, 258, 3 touchdown. Like they controlled it. Right? David Montgomery, by the way, he had a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown in today's game. Yeah, I found that quite interesting. I got to see the little highlight, and hell of a play by Detroit. Nice drawn up play. I quite enjoyed that one, actually. And then to finish off Sunday, it is the Sunday Nighter where New England Patriots traveled into the Buffalo Bills territory. And it was for naught that New England came and showed up to battle. All right. Josh Allen had about 273 passing, 60 plus rushing, 2 passing touchdowns. He got picked off though. All right. And they were fighting hard this game, but apparently New England, I don't know what the hell they came up with this week. Maybe they were snorting more bath salts than Buffalo. Either way, they walked away with the win 23-20 on the last game, winning field goal by their kicker, Borealis. And Stephon Diggs in his return to Buffalo since being last there, 10 receptions, 146 yards. Drake May went 22 of 30 for 273 and 2 touchdowns. Oh, no, I'm sorry. 273 passing yards. And then when they got down to the goal line, they gave it to their big back, Rashamond Stevenson, who had a fumble earlier in the game. But he came back and he redeemed himself on to holding the ball as to getting over the goal line. So, yeah, great games. All of Sunday football was amazing. And we will have your Monday night results live for you as we do next week's episode of the BearDown Corner, as we are not here on Monday. So, yes, this is a previously recorded episode, but hey, that don't matter though. You still showed up and had some fun, and now we got one last little tidbit for you. A little piece of interesting news I gathered over the weekend, and that is, remember the Butt Fumble? Mark Sanchez, right? Well, he ended up signing back in 2021 to be a color analyst for Fox Sports, okay? And he was supposed to be in Indianapolis calling the game this weekend. No, actually, in fact, I hope this son of a bitch gets everything he has coming to him. So, I don't know the whole story. I caught as much as I could and pieced together what I could. And from what I came to find, this asshole, basically, late night must have been out doing his thing on the town, and he was intoxicated based on the police reports from the victim. Yeah, he victimized someone. He, from what I gathered, basically walked up to a park semi. All right, it's a 69-year-old semi driver. Tried to yank the fucking guy out of the truck, and he actually ended up stabbing him and beating this guy to shit. I seen the pictures over on, I came across them on X, but it did not look good at all. I don't know what incurred, what came about, what even brought this upon Mark, but either way, you are a public figure. You represent Fox Sports and the entirety of the NFL as just a, former member, and you literally work within calling NFL games, calling college games. You piss pour it all away over what? What could this guy have said? What? Called you pretty boy? I don't know the full story to it. Either way, unless this guy was threatening Mark Sanchez's life, there was no reason for him to go after this guy. He has been arrested, by the way, and charged with battery resulting in bodily harm, unauthorized entry of motor vehicle, and public intoxication / endangers life of others. That is bullshit. That is bullshit, and I hope to God you find some peace after the fact. But right now, you get to go through the slammer, and I hope you lose everything. You piece of shit. Either way, that's what I found out over the weekend. And that is the former Butt Fumble quarterback, Mark Sanchez. As for that, I am Sergeant Holio, and this is the end of the day, the BearDown Corner. You can catch us live every Tuesday, 8 o'clock, 6 o'clock General Mountain, 8 o'clock Eastern, anywhere you listen to your podcast, and of course YouTube. Take care, be safe, and we'll catch you the next time here on the BearDown Corner.